Hello, this is the video instructions for the Spoons game. As I've said in my other videos, there are 6 of these separate videos going through each game, and so therefore there's probably going to be some repeating. I apologize for that, but just want to make sure I'm super thorough so that you feel super confident on how to get your game set up. Of course, if you have any questions or issues, feel free to reach out. My email address is listed here on the screen. All right, let's go ahead and dive right in. So when you get your download, it's going to look something like this. It's going to have all of your games in separate folders, as well as some documents that you're going to need in order to get these games to work, with the list of terms and definitions that you're going to use for that particular game. So the way that basically this is set up is I have set up a Microsoft template and used a program within Microsoft Word called Mail Merge. And Mail Merge is simply a way for Microsoft Word to communicate with an Excel spreadsheet to pull in whatever items you have in that spreadsheet to automatically go into the template that's already set up. So the very first thing we actually need to do is get our list set up. And there are 2 main lists that you're going to be using to make these games work. One's called horizontal, one's called vertical. They have to be done this way just simply because I had to kind of cheat the system when it came to Mail Merge in order to make the terms fill in the template in the way that it needs to. So we're actually going to be using the vertical one. The horizontal one is used for these top 3 games, and the vertical list is used for these bottom 3 games. So let's go ahead and get that set up. But before we do, I want to go over what this master list is. So basically, I created a master list in order to maybe make things even a little bit quicker, but this is completely optional. Really what the master list is meant to do is give you a space to put every single one of your units in prior to the semester and prior to creating the games, because it just makes it a little quicker and easier. But this is completely optional. You don't have to do so. Yours is not going to actually have terms in here. I just did that so that we could kind of play and practice with it. This is actually what yours is going to look like. It's going to have placeholders for your terms and definitions. The only thing I would say is don't mess with A1 and B1. Leave those the same because those are identifiers to show you or to tell Microsoft Word where to pull from. So let's say you went through this semester and you went ahead and filled out all of your terms, all of your definitions of those terms, and you're ready to go. And that's just going to make things a little bit quicker. So you're actually going to go back and pull up that vertical list because we're going to fill it out. Now, I meant to mention, when you pull up any document for the first time on your computer, sometimes it's going to put it in like a read-only mode, and you're going to have to tell it that you want to be able to edit it, and then it takes it immediately out of read-only mode. So that's the obvious first step you have to do. But once you've got the document pulled up, ready to go, all we're going to do is replace these placeholders with your terms and your definitions that you're using to play this game. The first way to do that is literally just type it in. So you could just type right over these terms like that and fill it out. But if you want a shortcut way and you've already filled up your master list, you could go to your master list, literally grab and drag all of those terms, again leaving out A1 and B1, don't include those. Right click and hit copy, or Control C if you're on a PC. It's going to light up a little square around it. You're going to go back to this one. I'm going to select the area where it's going to go into, right click and hit paste, this first paste button, or Control V will paste it in, and then that's it. You're done. You're ready. You've got your list of terms to be pulled into your Microsoft Word template. I'm going to save this as a separate document. You don't have to do that, but I like saving them all separately so that my vertical list stays looking like the original. It's in a template like form, but again, you can do it how you want to. So I'm going to call this Unit 1 Spoons Terms, and I'm just throwing it on my desktop so I can go find it quickly. But just make sure you remember where you saved it. If you want to save it actually inside of the Spoons folder, you could do that as well, but it's however you want to do it. All right, so we've got our list done. That's it. We've got the list of terms we're going to use, the list of definitions we want to use, and now we're going to actually go to the Spoons folder. So in your Spoons folder, you're going to have four separate Microsoft Word documents. I just did this way to kind of keep these clean and separate. And there's a lot of options within here that I want to go over. And the first one is this one that says Spoons Card Back with Logo. So I made a little logo. I'll actually pull it up. It's going to look like this to be printed on the back side of your cards if you want to. Now, let me just say this. This is completely optional. You don't have to do this. It's kind of a little extra, but if you know anything about me and the lessons that I create, they're all a little bit extra, and I like to do this, but it is a lot of ink. I understand that, and not all of us have the ability just to print as much as we want. You could also print this one time and do it as put it in the copy machine and flip the cards over and have them copied, but you don't need to do this. This is just for fun, and if you want to make your cards look a little extra special. The other thing I want to mention is that this all of the little cards are set up to be 3.5 inches by 2.5 inches, little squares. And I did that on purpose because when you're printing these, I would suggest printing them on some cardstock. But if you want to even take a shorter cut, they're actually set up to perfectly match printable business cards. I love doing this and getting these. I kind of splurge and pay for these simply because they are such a time saver. And I found them on Amazon. You can get different sizes, 180, or excuse me, there's a 200 cards right now on sale. I'm sure this will change over time as you're looking at this, but you can even get as much as 1,000 cards in bulk for $41. And it's what I spend some of my budget, my school budget on purchasing, because I use these so much for different things. But as long, and they don't need to be Avery brand, by the way, as long as they're 2 by 3.5 inch cards, any brand will work. So you might even find some that are cheaper that are not this like name brand Avery brand, like an Office Depot brand or something like that. But as long, again, as they're 2 by 3.5, what I love about these is after you're done printing them, you literally just pop out the cards and no cutting, like they're just done. But if you don't want to do that and you just want to print on cardstock, that's completely fine too. You just cut these out when you're done. You cut them with a paper cutter or just scissors or whatever, and they're good to go. But again, this is optional. This is just a little logo that I created and made for the game, but you don't have to do that. So the part you do have to do, though, is print the definitions and print the terms, because the game requires students to match those. So we're going to pull those up. Let's do the terms first. So again, the very first time you pull it up, it might want to put it in read-only mode, and you're just going to tell it that you want to be able to edit it. But the second thing it's going to do is it's going to know that there's an Excel spreadsheet that's supposed to be attached to this document. And in the very first time you pull it up, it's going to force you to go find that. Now, I've already pulled this up. It already knows that I have a document. It's already even found that document. So it's going to just pull in, I'm going to say yes, and it's going to pull in my old terms that I was using. But I want to show you what to do or what it will look like the very first time and then from here on out. So if you're opening this up for the second time, you've already done it. It's going to just take you and pull in the last set of terms that you just did for whatever game that you played. But if it's the first time, it's going to pop up a little box, or it's going to say something like, it's going to ask you to select or click on a button that says like select data source. And when you do that, it's going to take you to your computer to go and find that. So you see up here, it says select data source. And I'm going to click on the desktop because that's where I saved mine. So you're just going to click wherever you saved your terms, and there they are. Unit 1 Spoons terms. And I'm going to click on that. And I'm going to say, okay, and then it's going to pull them in. Now, it doesn't look any different because we're still in a mode of the template, but the moment that you click on this mailings tab and click on preview results, there's your terms. Now, I did these terms in red. You don't have to. If you'd rather everything be in black because maybe you don't have a printer, you could just select everything and then go and change the color to black. But I like the terms being a different color than the definition. I tell you, this Does not like the word itis, does it? And then once your cards look good, these are ready to print. So as long as you're in that preview mode under mailings, I could literally just go file, print, be done, print them. I will say the one negative thing is because there's 25 terms, you're going to have some blank like spaces. If you print on those little cards, save those little cards, you'll be surprised of how often you use those for different things. So I always save these little like ones that are left over for that, but I'm ready to go. I can just hit print and be done with it. But if I want to save these because maybe I feel like I might have to print more later, you go to finish and merge, edit individual documents, current record, and it's going to create a brand new file that you can save as whatever you want to. So I could say like file save as unit 1 front cards or 4 spoons or whatever you want to say. But these are done, and you notice now in mailings everything's grayed out, and that's because it's no longer going to ask you for a list to plug it in with Excel. It's just already done in coded into the document, and it's ready to go. This is again optional. You don't have to do this. This is just if you want to save it and print. I will say the good thing about this game is that the cards can be used over and over again. So I actually have I think I have a set of cards for pretty much every unit, and I just keep them all like separated with rubber bands, and then all thrown into manila file folders with the unit that it is, because there are days that maybe we get done early, or we have some extra class time and we pull the cards out and play the game. So that's how I have mine done, and then I just use them year after year. They actually stay in pretty good shape with the kids. All right, so I'm going to exit out. Well, actually we'll just put that down here, and now we're going to go in and get our definitions done. So you're going to do the exact same thing. It's going to pull up the very first time you do it. It's going to pull up and force you to put it into an edit mode, and then it's going to force you to go find that data source again. I believe it's a little button. Let's see, do I have that somewhere? I think I have it. Yeah, this is actually what it's probably going to look like. I remember putting a little snippet so that I could show you, but it's going to say, hey, this is a mail merge document and Word can't find it. So you're going to need to find it. And when you click that find data source, it's going to look exactly like if I were to go to mailings, select recipients using existing list. This is what it's going to pop up. And it's going to say select data source at the top. So again, I'm going to go back and find that exact same document that I just used, which is this one, and hit OK a couple times, and bam, it's pulled them in. Click preview results, and there's all of my coordinating definitions, and we're ready to go. Now, I will mention, if you've seen my videos for, let's go back to the games. Oops, not those games, these games. If you go back to this list, your heads up, your matching, and your spoons games are all the exact same cards as far as the backs of them go. They each have their own little logo, but if you wanted to print out one set of cards for that unit, you actually could use those for all 3 of these games. So don't feel like you have to completely make new cards for each of these. Again, I'm going to remind you that I'm a little extra and I like the little logos and stuff on the back, so I actually have separate ones, but don't feel obligated. These all look pretty much the same. It's just the game changes. So you could do one set of cards for all 3 of those games. Okay, so once you're ready to go, again, you do the exact same thing. You can either finish and merge it and make it into its own document, or you can keep it in preview and just print as many of them as you need. Once you have your cards printed and ready to go, you're ready to play the game. And actually, I'm going to go through the game and how to play it really quickly here in just a second. So let's pull up our rules. I did create a little list of rules of how to play this game. Now, I'm going to say this. This is the game that, of all those 6 games that I play, this is the one that my students love the most. It's taken from an old card game I used to play called Spoons. You might know it. But basically what they're going to do is they're going to be making matches. And then in the center of the table are going to be spoons, and there's one less spoon than there are number of students. And once a student has their matches, they're going to secretly kind of quietly grab a spoon, and the other students have to notice that they've grabbed somebody has grabbed a spoon, and they're going to go grab a spoon, and there's going to be one person left without a spoon. And that person is kind of like the game, the horse game when you play basketball. You get a letter each time you're the loser. So the loser would get an S, and the first person to spell out spoons is the one that loses. It's a quick, fun game that kind of goes quickly and has a little bit of speed with it. And I love this. The students absolutely love this game. And so it's one that I probably play more than any of them. So the rules are that you just need to be not caught without a spoon. And that's really all there is to it. Now, as far as how the cards are done, that depends on how many students you have within a group. I would suggest it be played with 4 or 5 players. So if you play with a team of 4, you're going to select 8 terms with their matching definitions, which means you're going to have 16 cards total. And then a team of 5 is going to select 10 terms with their matching definitions for 20 cards total. So basically, the point of the game is for you to have 2 matches in your hands. And it can be whatever, but you have to make sure that the cards that you play for the games aren't just 20 random cards or 16 random cards. They have to be actual matches, or else nobody's gonna win the game, because there is no discard pile. You could also play it where their team of 4 has to make 3 matches. So if if you play with a team of 4 and you're like, okay, everybody's got to make 3 matches, that means each person needs 6 cards. So it just kind of depends on how you want to play it. But the point is that everybody needs you need to decide how many matches you want each person to make. And I would suggest 2 or 3. If it gets more than that, the game gets really long. And then go ahead and have the team pick out which set of terms they want to use, find those definition cards, and then shuffle the cards. So once you shuffle the cards, every player is going to get that number of matches that they have that you're going to select. So if you decide everybody's going to have to make 2 matches, then every person would get 4 random cards. So once you've got your cards, don't let them see. There is no, like I said, discard pile. You just put the terms you're not using off to the side. Then if you're a team of 4, you place 3 spoons in the center of the table. A team of 5 would place 4, and then you're going to choose a person for that round to be what we call the signaler. So once everyone is ready to play, the signaler is going to say switch, and at that time everybody selects a card from their hand and they pass it to the left. And so you're going to look at your cards, you're going to see if you have any matches. If you do, you're going to kind of secretly, put those aside in your hands. If you don't, the game continues, where the signaler is going to say switch, and then you keep doing that until somebody in the group ends up with 2 sets of matching cards. So you're going to have, let's go find our cards. So someone has Gaster and Cardi. They're going to be looking for the terms stomach and heart. Now, at any time they can choose to pass, if they're like, I'm never going to find this definition because somebody's holding on to that one, then they could end up passing their Cardi and getting, let's say, itis, and then they're now going to be looking for the term inflammation or, whatever. So that's just kind of the point, is that you keep switching cards until eventually somebody has 2 sets of matches. So once a person has 2 sets of matches, they're going to secretly grab a spoon and pull it in. And what's interesting is that a lot of times people aren't paying attention, and eventually somebody notices and everybody grabs a spoon, and then that round is over. Once that round is over, you're just going to play again. They're going to select another set of terms to use, hopefully the ones they haven't used, so they can cycle through all the cards, and then they just keep playing until somebody spells out spoons, and then they officially lose the game. So yeah, it's a lot of fun. Like I said, it's the number one game my students asked to play when we do our little review game. So I believe that's it. Hopefully I've gone through everything thorough enough. If you have questions on how to play this, I would read through the instructions. I tried to put in enough instructions without making it complicated. But if you still have questions on how this is played, let me know, or just any other questions in general, feel free to reach out. And I try to make sure and answer my emails as quickly as possible. But otherwise, I hope you have an incredible, your students have a fun time with this game, and that you have a fantastic year. Thanks so much.